this year?
Yeah, happy to. Yeah. I've worked with probably since the pandemic started in March, I've worked with about 20 different organizations on various projects, whether they were online campaigns or virtual events, things like that. So I feel like I have some insight into what a lot of different types of organizations have gone through this year. One word I would use to characterize this year is surprising. Not only because we all got surprised, which has such a good implication, so surprised with a pandemic, but also
Right.
I think we got some surprises in our expectations of how our donors would show up to us in this. So the first comment I have is not really a sky is falling. It's what I'm seeing is donors are springing to life. They are really feeling empowered to support the things that matter to them. I think there's always this sort of fear of the economy's receding. What does that mean? People might lose their jobs, et cetera. And then you pull back and you stop asking. And when you do that, that's when bad things can start to happen. But what I've seen is that most of my clients are raising more in their virtual events that replace their in-person events, or succeeding really well in whatever campaigns they're trying to do. And succeeding really well with some bigger donors too, who are not in financial dire straits in any way. So I just want to name that it's okay to have been surprised by that. It's, unless you were a fundraiser during the 2008 and 2009 recession, you probably didn't know what to expect in terms of giving patterns there. So I kind of want to start on that positive note.
Yeah.
The other thing is that this year I've actually, in a weird way, been waiting for, because it is a year that has really pushed all nonprofits, no matter your size, how you're run, to fully invest in digital and really actually figuring out, if you've never been able to or spend the time before. I think for some organizations, it feels like extra, right? You do well in direct mail or you have these events. But digital really augments all of those things, and being able to have a great online fundraising strategy is only a net positive. And this is the year when you can't get away without having one. So from a very big picture perspective, I'm excited that this is taking organizations to a place where they maybe have had roadblocks or barriers in place that always felt like it was not as important as whatever was right in front of you. Because digital is the future. So things like that. And I want to tell you what advantage you do have as the organizations that you are. Fundraising is about identity in many ways. And again, I don't mean political necessarily, but fundraising is really about hooking in to what makes that person and what's unique about them and what they care about and what their values are. And the people that you work with have all had this incredible, for better or for worse, and I'm sure the journey is up and down, experience, parenting children who have these adverse early health experiences or have been in the NICU. That changes you, that cements on you something like that. And to be able to speak to those people, that core audience, strongly and really about what it is that you're doing, and remind them of those experiences and your donors of that shared connection they all have, that gives you an advantage over something that feels present but far away or distant or not related to the personal experiences that people are having. There are lots of people who are not connecting with COVID. And so I just want to name that you're probably making really tough decisions with your budget right now, and I understand. And some of those things can't be helped. But if you have people, in your organization or your board saying, oh, just cut fundraising and marketing, we've got to focus on programs, that is cutting off your nose to spite your face. And the organizations that did that in 2008 and 2009, they are not around anymore to tell us what a bad idea that was. But I am. And so that's what I want to share with you is, even though it seems hard, you cannot cut out these activities. What you do now is going to show up 18, 24 months from now too. COVID may be not just asking. Imagine the process of fundraising like an iceberg. The ask is that part you see at the top. That's 10%, right? Real fundraising, what really gets someone to say yes when you ask them, is stewardship, engagement, outreach, checking in. How are you? It's those pieces that are about, building faith and trust in the organization, showing the heart of the problem, showing the examples of the way you're solving it. Not an ask, that are actually going to make your asks much more effective. So for everybody for 2021, zoom out. And as you create a calendar year plan for this, think about the balance of when am I asking for money and when am I sharing out information and engaging people in non-ask ways. Super important. You know, my think about what is fundamental to what we do as an organization. Is there something that in a perfect world we'd love to do that we just can't afford in 2021? And can we put that thing on pause and acknowledge where we are, rather than kind of hang on to doing everything we always thought we could do in a normal time and slowly but surely going under because of it? Those are hard choices, but start thinking through that with your board, your staff, your other volunteers, and anyone else who's really part of how you make decisions about your financial strategy.
Yeah. I love that you use the word pause, because just because you decide to step back from something at the moment, that's okay. You know, if you can't do something to the best of your capabilities, then you're only doing it halfway, and that's not going to serve the families that you're serving in the best ways either. And, you know, is it okay to acknowledge that, you know, to the broader, the broader
Not
community?
only is it okay,
or does that
you must communicate those kind of changes to the community. It's much worse to have someone go, wait a minute, where'd that weekly lunch and learn go? Than for you to say, hey, folks, you know, this is a difficult year. We're really focusing on serving families one-on-one in hospitals. We're going to pause our lunch and learns for 6 months. We can't wait to see you there again in 6 months, and we'll keep you posted. That is such a better experience for donors than looking around going, what happened? And the principle of this is something I call organizational vulnerability, which is a very fine tightrope to walk for all organizations. It's the balance of showing your success and your trustworthiness and your stability so that people are like, oh yeah, I want to give to them, but also being really clear and open about what your real problems are. If you hide your real organizational problems from your donors, they don't know the ways in which you need them. And your fundraising asks are going to fall hollow because it's not connecting with what's driving the need and the ask. So it's okay to reach out to your donors and say straight up, here's where we're at. Things are tough. Here's what we're doing. This is our strategy and why. Here's how we see you fitting in. Go make a monthly gift right now. Or if you can make a stretch gift more than you've ever given, now is the time. That kind of stuff. It sets you up to succeed.
From Lisa on Giving Tuesday, you know, you get an overload of emails, your social media.
I got a good answer for this one.
Awesome. Okay, go for it.
Peer-to-peer fundraising. So don't just have a Giving Tuesday campaign. Most of these fundraising softwares allow you to create a peer-to-peer fundraiser, which is conceptually a campaign. We call that the mother campaign. Somebody could just go to that and give. But then somebody has the ability to make their own page, put in their own words, why I support this organization, set their own goal. We call that a child page. All the gifts to child pages roll up into the mother page. And so all of a sudden you have a set of people raising money for you. It's all going to the same place. You can really communicate the progress easily because it's on an online platform. And you're giving them a chance to leverage their networks. And the reason I bring that up now is because on Giving Tuesday, somebody is much more likely to open an email from their coworker, their best friend, their sister, etc., than something from an organizational email that's probably actually going to their promotions tab and they have to go look for it specifically. That is how you cut through the noise, is ambassadors and advocates and social media advertising.
So with peer-to-peer fundraising, what kind of, do you need to have some sort of toolkit for the people that you're going to ask to engage in this, or how do you get them to be good peer-to-peer fundraisers for you?
Great question. And yes, ideally you could have a 1 to 2 pager that you support people with. It's got some sample of social media posts or emails they could send. You know, you want them to customize, but basically your job is to make it so blazingly easy for your ambassadors to raise money for you that they can't not. And so that if you do a little of that work ahead of time and give them those resources and check in consistently, don't just send emails. If you know these people, pick up the phone and say, how's it going? What have you tried? Can I help in any way? You know, are you seeing something we recommended that's not working? How can we pivot? Because you're probably not going to be working with like thousands. You'll probably be working with like 5 to 20. And the nuances of a peer-to-peer campaign is that you are managing relationships with those 5 to 20 people rather than directly soliciting 1,000 or 5,000 or however many people on your email list. So the real work is actually the energy you put towards your fundraisers, not towards your like digital marketing campaigns.